Two, one. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. As you can see, it's a busy news day. So we're going to be talking about a tale of three different stories. As you see, the live stream is indeed titled Hunter, Trump, Christie. Obviously, we're talking about Hunter Biden, former President Trump, and Christie. We all know, for those who follow politics enough, we all know Christie has decided to bow out. So we're going to be talking about Christie, but we're also going to be talking about Hunter Biden because of the spectacle that took place yesterday when Hunter Biden surprisingly showed up to his own hearing in regards to whether they should find him in contempt or not. So Hunter Biden showed up during that hearing and we had a huge spectacle. So we'll be talking about Hunter Biden. We'll certainly be talking about Christie deciding to bow out, because when he bowed out, he didn't go quietly. He had a hell of a speech. I guess we won't call it a concession speech, or whatever they call it when you suspend your campaign. He had a hell of a speech. So we're going to talk about certain aspects of that speech and whether or not that resonates with you or not. And then last but not least, President Trump is finishing up his closing arguments in the Letitia James case out in New York. And we'll talk about that because he was apparently kicked out of court for going on and on. Trump likes to ad-lib. So the judge had already told him, during your closing arguments, fine, say what you want to say, but don't turn it into a campaign speech. Well, Trump didn't take that to heart. He went in there and did exactly that. You're going to hear, the Bidens are weaponizing the government against me. This whole court is a sham, and a lot of things that have nothing to do with the case. So apparently the judge stopped him, and that case, for the most part, is starting to come to a conclusion. So we're talking about Christie. Hunter Biden, should he be held in contempt, is what I want to hear from you folks in regards to Hunter Biden. They want to perhaps even throw him in jail for not answering the subpoena. There's a lot to talk about on that. And last but not least, what are your thoughts on Christie? Busy news day. What up, as you know, this is a MAGA-friendly program. MAGA are always my preferred guest. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. You know how we run the program. We do not block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. A lot of things here to untackle, so the commentary could get fairly passionate. Nevertheless, everybody will be allowed to speak. Looking in the comments, we have to throw Jimmy in jail too. Who is Jimmy? Jimmy who? No one is above the law, says Jules. I like that comment. I agree with that sentiment exactly. It's 6 Congress people who didn't get held in contempt. And that is starting out about the Hunter Biden case. We'll go right into that. The notion that 6 other Congress folks did not get held in contempt. That is a strong pushback from the left, and in my opinion, it's legitimate. If you believe Hunter Biden should have to answer the congressional subpoena he received, and you're okay with all of the folks that did not answer the subpoena during the January 6th hearings committee, then you're just biased. You are just biased. Either you should be held responsible for responding to a subpoena, or you shouldn't. It shouldn't be a case where I can pick and choose. Well, I think this one is a witch hunt. I think this one is serious. If a subpoena is valid, you should treat it as such no matter what. And I'll be sure to tackle your comments. Going straight to the box, those are our topics. We'll start it out with DJ Julio. I think if I'm reading that correct. Good afternoon, DJ. What's up?
How's it going?
It's going good. What do you think about Christie bowing out?
Well, I think if he doesn't feel he's going to do a good job, he should get the heck out the way.
That's fair enough. Do you think his whole campaign was, for the most part, a farce, or do you think he was on to something?
I think they're all trying to get there, but I think they're all starting to realize that there's no chance for any of them. I mean, it's on the Republican side, it's going to be Trump at the end.
So how do you feel? Because you're mentioning that there's no chance for him, and I tend to agree with that sentiment. But when you look at Christie versus Ron DeSantis or even Nikki Haley or Vivek Ramaswamy or any of the other ones, Christie is the only person that is openly talking about the front runner. Why do you think the other candidates running for president are deliberately choosing not to talk about the guy who's leading the pack by far?
They don't want to piss him off.
How can you run for president if you don't want to piss off the guy that's beating you?
Exactly. That's why, like in our last conversation, that's why I'm so behind Trump. He's not afraid to piss people off. He's not afraid to do it wrong and figure it out.
So you favor Trump because he's not afraid to piss people off. So you do see Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis as scared.
Yeah, they'll be. I mean, give them a month and they'll be off the campaign as well.
I definitely think it's going to be Ron DeSantis pretty quick. Nikki Haley may hold out, but I do think in the end you're going to be right. But if they're afraid to piss Trump off, why are they afraid of him?
There's no really telling. When you put a pit bull in the ring, there's really no telling what that pit bull's been through. And Trump's been through a lot, so you kind of know what he's been through. You know what he's capable of putting up with, and you know what he's capable of doing. And when you got a congressional backing the way that he does, you just don't want to ruffle feathers with the guy who's going to be boss.
Yeah. So you do believe you said a congressional backing. You do believe most of the Republican Party in power do back Trump. They favoring Trump.
I do, and I think that a lot of the stuff that we're hearing on some of the news channels, I listen to both. I'm like I explained to you the last time we talked. I lean liberal, but I'm a Republican, by paper.
Wait, what? Explain that. How do you lean liberal but you're a Republican? Explain that.
I have daughters. Right. I have daughters that are 26, 23, 17, sorry.
Okay.
And where I lean liberal is I think that people, we need to look into universal health care. I think it would be a good thing for the Republicans to start looking into, something that's more universal health care. I'm Native American, so I get universal health care anyway, through our treaties.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's right. I have a lot of Caucasian friends who don't get that medical, and we sat down and talked about it last week after me and you talked on your last live that I was a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sharing some of the views that you guys were sharing with me, and I was, I understand where you guys all come from. I really do.
Yeah. So, but if you lean Republican, at the end of the day, virtually any social policy that comes down the pipe, they're going to be against. I mean, there are places that are even against giving children free lunch in schools on the Republican side. So you can discuss it, but at the end of the day, they're not going to be for it.
Well, and that's where, we are working with our Republican, people here in South Dakota. A lot of us are starting to go and sit in on these meetings that they're having and starting to push a little more of that. Let's be real. If we're going to make all this money, we're not going to take it with us. Why don't we help somebody come up? That doesn't mean give it away for free. That doesn't mean, okay, so you don't have to work. We're going to pay you $95 to have a house. And your house payment's free, and your food is free, and
how does okay, that's a fair point. Now, you said you have 3 daughters, am I correct?
That's true.
Now, they're very young girls, teenagers?
No, they're 26 years old, 23 years old, and 17 years old. I keep want to call her 19.
With your party, and particularly your governor in South Dakota being so strong pro-life, how do your daughters feel about that? Are they leaning to the right, Republican like you, in terms of voting?
No, and that's where I lean. I would say left a little more. I'm pro-life. At the same time, I speak with, if you will, I speak with a forked tongue. I'm going to contradict myself. I do agree pro-life. I also agree in certain circumstances where it's going to hurt the mother, it's going to hurt the child, it's going to hurt the child. It's going to hurt their personal family economy. There's got to be some kind of a balance.
Well, God, thank you. Yeah, but here's the issue, and I just want to give a quick shout out. Buckeye, do appreciate that. 404. Shout out to you. Thank you for the generosity. But what I'm saying is, even though you lean left socially, you're voting for Trump, you're voting for Republicans, and right now the Republican Party, particularly with abortion, is going further to the right. So if you're leaning left socially, you're getting less and less of what you would favor by voting for Trump.
Yeah, and part of that's true. I mean, you have some truth in that, and even my daughters. I mean, not the oldest. The oldest one is a little more. She leans more Democrat than anybody. I mean, we have great conversations, especially when it comes to that Roe v. Wade and the abortion, and she understands my stance on it, and I understand her stance on it. I am never going to tell, not even you, my friend. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, so long as you're not hurting anybody else. I don't care what you do.
But is she gonna vote the same way? If you had to guess, and obviously it's her choice, she can do whatever she wanted, 26 years of age. But if you had to guess, do you think she's going to support Trump like you?
The oldest one isn't. The other two are. The other two voted Trump the last two times as well.
How old did you say they were?
23, and she was. Oh, she's not voting yet.
Yeah, 23. She didn't vote twice.
No, she's voting Trump this time, and my daughter turns 18 next October.
Okay.
And she's gonna register right away so that she can vote right away, and she's voting Trump as well.
In 18, wow. Now that is a bit unique. An 18-year-old supporting Trump. How do they feel about the LGBT community? I'm just curious.
They think all the banner things are just hoopla. Like, when it comes down to the real issues of those people, they stand by their friends who are going through that. They don't make a spectacle of it.
Give me an example. What do you mean when you say issues? Elaborate on what do you mean when you say issues?
The social issues, such as being able to walk around and look like a boy but dress like a girl.
And yet they're going to.
They don't care about none of that because they stand with me on the sense that everybody's an individual, and unless that individual is hurting you, you have no right to judge them.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. Just like with you leaning left but voting for Trump, if you stand with the LGBT community on their issues, as you point out, you're voting for Trump. Trump is not going to stand with the LGBT community on their issues. They don't want him in the bathrooms. They don't want him on sports teams. They don't want him on beer cans. They don't want him on books. How do you vote for Trump but stand with their issues?
My girls don't want him. My girls don't want boys who think they're girls in the bathrooms either.
Yeah.
They have they had that issue in our schools. And very quickly our school said, you know what? On every floor of our school, we're going to have a bathroom that's designated for that. So it's basically a family bathroom. If you see them at the swimming pool where you got men, women, family.
Mm-hmm.
You can go into the family bathroom if you're a boy or a girl. That's fine. Whatever. That's your choice. But for you, as a strong man, my daughter as a strong woman, they have a right to say, I'm sorry, I don't care how you identify. There's two genders in this life. We understand there's two genders. The LGBT community is a mental thought process. It's
Then, okay, wait a minute. You say they stand with LGBT issues. The LGBT community don't think they're mentally insane like that. I know folks on the right think that something's wrong with your mind for you to identify as the opposite gender.
No.
But
see, in my family, we don't talk that way. So as a Republican, we don't talk divisive. We don't talk to divide each other.
But you're voting for it.
Well, yeah, because there's more issues that they agree with that Trump talks about, that if he could pull these things off that he's talking about, they would prefer that over transgender bathrooms. They would prefer that over having a big ass issue with abortion.
Yeah.
They see that the abortion issue and that the transgender issue is a personal issue. They understand that the way that you were born, Tim,
mm-hmm.
and the way that I was born, we were born with penises.
Okay.
My daughters understand that they were born with vagina. They also understand that they have friends who connect more female to female. They have other friends that connect more male to male, emotionally and physically. They don't care about that. it's not going to be a topic that they're gonna jump into at a party at at a house party. They're not.
Fair enough.
Make a big deal about
I get your point. I do got to move it on, but the only reason why I asked you because you said they stand with the LGBT community on their issues, and I'm thinking like if you stand with the LGBT community with the issues they're complaining about, and you vote for Trump, you don't stand with that community because Trump definitely does not stand with any issue facing the LGBT community. They pretty much think it's like you said, something's mentally wrong with folks, and we need to marginalize them in society. I don't want them on books. I don't want them on my beer cans. I don't want them, really don't want them anywhere. Anywhere they show up, we're gonna have a problem with them.
And they and I don't.
Already? Really? Okay, I'm going to keep the program moving, but my last caller got taken down. I don't know why in the hell that happened, but let me keep the program moving. I don't know what we were having a conversation. Unfortunately, sometimes talking about the LGBT community and COVID can cause that. There was nothing really said there that should have, perhaps somebody's watching that caused that. I don't think TikTok would even did that. Looking in the comments. And I tend to agree with this one. You are not supporting them if you are not supporting their issues. You might as well not support. Yeah, and I'll go back to the box, but that's where I had a lack of understanding with my last caller, and I was kind of baffled. Is he started out by saying he leans left on social issues, but he's voting for Trump. And then we started talking about transgender community and things like that. He has an 18-year-old daughter that he stated that stands with the LGBT community on their issues, but they're voting for Trump. I don't know of any issue that the LGBT community is talking about that they suggest they're facing, they have to deal with, or anything of any nature that Trump is on the same side as them. The only thing I can see is Trump is probably saying you shouldn't execute him. But other than that, I don't see where Trump stands with the LGBT community or anything. And by the way, Trump is nowhere near as far right as many other members of the party he supports. Like, I don't believe Trump supports being pro-life even when the mother's life is in danger. I don't think Trump is that far to the right on abortion. But if you vote Trump in, you're getting those kind of people. Same thing with the LGBT community. They're not better yet, the far right Republicans, they're not pro-LGBT in any sense at all. So I don't quite get that. Looking in the box, we'll keep it moving with Moo, the tuxedo cat. And by the way, Moo, appreciate the hat and mustache. Yay ha to you. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Talking about Christie. Talking about Trump and, of course, Hunter Biden. You think Hunter Biden should be held in contempt? Well, he's already held in contempt. You think he should be punished for not answering that subpoena? Moo. Apparently my caller came in and dropped out. We'll keep it moving. And I see in the comments, Nathan Strong says yes. I have to ask this question, though. I think I mentioned it earlier in the program. By the way, folks, tap the screen. Get your boy up to 20,000. You know we ask on every program. I always have to solicit the likes because it helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. You know how the program runs. Nevertheless, liberals are always welcome. In regards to Hunter Biden being punished, I got to point out the hypocrisy. Why was there no effort to suggest the same thing for all of the folks that did not respond to the January 6th subpoenas? I said this at the beginning of the program. Either a subpoena is something you should heed or you shouldn't. Or are we okay with people picking and choosing when a subpoena means something or not? Either a subpoena is worth its weight in court or it's not. I don't quite understand that. Going back to the box. And I do agree with none of yours, anyone who doesn't answer a subpoena should be held in contempt. Everybody. I'm with that. I'm 100% behind that. But this whole spectacle over Hunter Biden not answering a subpoena when there's a lot of folks on the other side that we agree with. Wow, who just sent that hot dog? Do appreciate that. Don't know who just did that, but I would like to, that was Theodore McPhail. Thank you. Appreciate that, Theodore. Absolutely, thank you. Going back to the box. Hunter, Christie, Trump. It's a slow news day, but let's keep it going. Let's try it again with my last guest. I don't quite get what's going on with the boxer, but Moo, good afternoon.
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. You've been on hold. I saw that. I'll give you the floor.
Thanks, man. No, I don't care about Hunter Biden. What I care more about is Marjorie Greene wasting my tax dollars showing off Hunter Biden's dong in Congress. That's what I care about, right?
Why is that? Why is that allowed to show genitalia?
Why is that? Because Republicans don't want to legislate, right? They have no policy. They can't do anything for middle-class people, so they got to show off dongs in Congress all day to appease their voters like they're going after Hunter Biden because they can't legislate. They have nothing for children, right? They just turned down free SNAP money today. Bunch of red states turned down free money for children, but they're pro-life, right? So pro-life that they don't want children to eat, right? And they like showing off dongs in Congress, and they like reading gay sex novels, too.
Wait. Where did the gay sex novel come in?
Mississippi, the Senator Kennedy out of Mississippi read a gay sex
I heard
novel.
about it. Yeah, I heard about it.
Right in the middle of Congress because they're that classy, man. They're that good, you know?
Yeah, I did hear about that. But yeah, particularly with MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, showing someone's genitalia. Like, what is the purpose of doing that? I mean,
to appease her dumbass base, man. Listen, these people are not smart, right? Listen, these dudes have homosexual tendencies, right? I go around all these MAGA people's sites and they're men, right? And they have pictures of Trump like naked on a horse and in tight bodysuits and stuff, man. These dudes, like, they go against gay people, but a ton of MAGA have like these massive homosexual tendencies, man.
well, I can't speak on that, but you are correct. There are no shortage of pictures of Trump with muscles and all that. I mean, I don't know where that comes from, but there's a lot of folks that do have
Gay,
memes.
and it's okay to be gay, but they just can't admit it, right? That's why they go after gay people, because they are gay and they can't stand it, right? So they need to attack people.
You're telling me that MAGA, even though they're often critical of the LGBT community, you're telling me MAGA is secretly
Dude,
gay?
Don't get me started on how many MAGA must be attracted to transsexual men. Like, dude, seriously, there must be a ton of you that are attracted to transsexual men, dude. Men who dress up as women or are trying to become a woman. You know, I know you guys have, big rubbery ones for them because you just attack them constantly, right?
Well, wait a minute. Okay, wait.
Like that.
All right. Wait, hang on. Let me compose myself. This shit is funny as hell. But you got Kid Rock out there shooting an LGBT member on the side of a Bud Light can. They don't seem to be.
To get pegged, straight up. I'll tell you right now, Kid Rock loves a good pegging. All day. His music sucks, by the way.
Let's move on. Chris Christie. What you think Chris Christie did the right thing? Oh my God, Christie.
Honestly, man, if these guys want to, Nikki Haley has a fair chance at beating Trump. And I'll tell you, man, if they were smart for their own future, they would all drop out and let Nikki Haley take the reins. Because if she beats him in New Hampshire or Iowa, he's done. He would show weakness to his base. He wouldn't be as braggadocious anymore. She would have a leg up on him. She would destroy him at that point. So if they were smart, they would all drop out and let Nikki Haley take it.
Do you think MAGA would ever support Nikki Haley though?
No, see, once Trump's gone, MAGA's going to go away, man, because more than half of MAGA was never even into politics before Trump showed up, right? They saw this moron on TV firing people, and then all of a sudden, he's running for president, and all they know is, I saw this guy on TV, he seems to be an asshole like me, so I'm going to vote for him. But they don't actually know anything about politics. I can tell that by listening to them on your stream.
Well, you don't have to know about politics to know kitchen table issues that concern your home. Maybe they don't know about politics. Okay, once again, there's certainly someone watching the program that is hating. Listen, I would rather folks come up in the box and have a conversation, but Moo appealed that. Moo just got taken out of the program, and there's no reason that should happen. So obviously, look, as the program has grown, we've been doing this for a couple of years, we have haters. We do. I get them in my inbox. I get direct messages and things like that. We do have haters because the program is growing. And there are folks that do not like that. So now clearly Moo is not only left, but he's progressive. He's further left by far than I am. So the idea that only liberals report people, that's bullshit. He got taken down, and I guarantee it was not TikTok that did that. That's somebody watching the program that's hating that would obviously either be a troll or lean right. because that was a progressive. He didn't say anything that was worthy of getting taken down. So I do believe if he would appeal, he'd probably quickly be put back on. In fact, they took the program down yesterday. We were coming to a conclusion anyway, but I did file an appeal, and I was victorious in that appeal, and I don't even think it was 5 minutes before TikTok notified me. So I do believe the apps themselves know they have trolls. I don't know if they take folks down out of an abundance of caution, but most of the time I appeal when the few times where I get taken down, and I think I win about 80 to 90% of the appeals. And yesterday was a case like that. They took the program down. I filed an appeal, and by the time I got back to my phone after going back to work, it was already, you're back on. So it does happen. Looking in the comments, there were lives coming down all day yesterday, says Teresa. Yeah, it could be somebody that is simply coming on here. Maybe they got a day off work or they got a snow day and they're just trolling all the lives and causing that. I do believe that's what happens, is you got folks that'll just simply sit back and just cause mayhem, maybe file hundreds of reports over and over and over again in hopes to have the shows taken down. Then they just go to the next one and do it. I do believe there are people out there like that. Folks have nothing better to do. Liberals are further left than progressives, in my opinion. Well, you're talking, okay, I look at someone like Biden as a liberal or Biden as a Democrat, a traditional, unless you're saying there's Democrats, liberals, and progressives, like you're saying there's categories. Then I'd have to figure out who you're talking. But I do believe progressives, in my opinion, are further to the left than anything else in the party. Because progressives tend to push the envelope away from what folks consider to be the norm. One thing they don't tell you, and I'll go back to the box after this, but one thing that you don't often hear, you hear about the Republican Party was a party that freed the slaves, which is true. Democrats was a party of slavery. You don't hear folks state that the Republican Party during that time were considered progressives. Republicans were referred to as progressives during the Emancipation era when they were trying to abolish slavery. Progressives go against the norm. Same thing with the LGBT rights and things like that. That's being promoted by progressives. That's why they're not very popular, because they go against what people have considered to be traditional norms. As Nikki Haley pointed out, slavery was traditional during that time. And the progressives on the progressive Republicans, they weren't considered right-wingers either. There's a difference between far left and far right. We often hear far left being criticized all the time. Socialism, liberal city. You don't hear people talk about the far right that much. Well, Iran is far right. China is far right. Most Middle Eastern countries are far right. One religion, they got specific rules that you can't change. Far right Afghanistan is far right. You don't hear far right being mentioned much, but it's not an environment you'd want to live in. For instance, the pro-life movement right now, that is far right, where even if the mom is facing death, she has no options. That is a far right policy. You don't hear far right come up too much because in reality, it's not very favorable. Going back to the box, we'll keep it moving with the right way. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. I'm not a troll, but will not have Dems coming after my life for how I believe different from them. And you shouldn't have anybody coming after your life for believing different. But however, it happens on both sides. Both sides, if you are too strong against their policies, you're going to get death threats. Trump is causing a lot of people to get death threats. It happens on both sides. The right, I didn't see the rest of that, but good afternoon.
Hey, what's up, man?
Not much.
I have a question.
Sure.
So the guy who just came up here, Moo, I think that's his name?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so all the things he was saying about Republicans, you don't think that was a good reason to get kicked from the live?
Give me some. Well, I don't believe, the moron comment, I suppose. I don't believe in taking folks down for insults like that. I don't know. I'm not gonna totally disagree with you. I guess if I really thought about it, The way because you've asked me, I do, yeah, there may be some things in there he said that may be worthy of it, but I'm not a fan of censoring free speech.
Yeah, because you said that he shouldn't have been taken down, but he said some pretty crazy stuff about Republicans.
Give me some examples.
Well, I'm not going to repeat it because then I'll probably get
Synonyms.
taken down,
Give me you can spell out half of it, whatever you got to do. Give me an example.
He said something. He said Republicans like to.
You win. You win. You win. You win. The pegging part, you win. All right. What else? Did you come up for something else? You totally win that. Now that you brought it up, I can't argue with that.
Yeah. Well, when he brought up Republicans probably being, LGBT behind the scenes kind of thing, it made me think of, liberals who might have more conservative views. But they are still anti-Trump. What do you think about that? Do you think liberals low-key have conservative views that they're afraid to speak on?
No, I actually believe, and I've said this before, on paper, Trump deserves a second term. I think there are plenty of liberals that are pro-police, plenty of liberals that are pro-Christian. My whole family is Christian, pro-military. Yeah, I think these are views we normally consider to be conservative, but they don't have a patent on it. For instance, being patriotic is not a conservative view, but they have kind of taken over the word. There are tons of liberals in the military and conservatives. So I don't believe Trump's policies are the reason why you don't have him in office anymore. When you talk to folks that don't like Trump, it's usually not his policies. Nobody's criticizing $2 gas or a good economy. So I do believe there are liberals that have some conservative policies, just like I talked to a conservative that's voting for Trump, the first guy on the program, that said he has liberal policies.
Yeah, do you think, so you say that liberals are some of them are pro-Christian, right?
I think most are.
Most of them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I don't know if you've seen that movie, Leave the World Behind. Have you seen that movie?
With Julia Roberts, yeah, Christian, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, so what do you think about Obama adding into the script that we should be afraid of white people?
How did he say, first of all, that's a ridiculous racist thing to say, but how was it stated?
Yeah, so that's my point. The liberals nowadays, when you talk about the far left, and I totally agree with you about China being far right and stuff like that, but it's different than being right-wing in America, right? Because at the end of the day, we have a constitution. We have freedoms that China doesn't. They're a communist country, right? So that's what I wanted to bring up about the far left.
Yeah, but hang on. I'll let you continue, but I will tell you this in regards to the Constitution and those freedoms are there not because of the far right, but in spite of them. All of those amendments that were added were to stop the far right from doing that stuff.
So would you say that Trump is far right?
No, but I do believe if Trump gets elected, you're going to see more far right policies, because I see Trump not necessarily racist or anything. I see him as an opportunist. If those groups will help support him, he'll take a far right supporter any day.
Right. So do you think that Trump is a racist, like you personally?
I don't know what's in the man's heart, so I'm not going to say that he is, certified racist. But I will say he has done things and said things that are highly questionable. I mean, a total and complete ban on all Muslims entering America, that's not inclusive.
Oh, okay. Do you think that racism should be something that we look at when we vote? Or, is it a factor when we think about who we're not going to vote for?
I definitely think when you cast a ballot, if you feel like somebody is racist, that should affect your vote.
Right. So why do you think all the liberals who call Trump a racist, why do you think they voted for racist Joe Biden?
Because they don't see Joe Biden as a racist.
But all the things he said to black people and the crime bill and all these different things, why do you think they ignore that and then they listen to other liberals who pander to minorities and say that Trump is a racist?
Well,
Why do you think that's happening?
yeah, first of all, when you bring up the things that Joe Biden has said, if Trump says this guy cannot adjudicate my case because he's a Mexican, does that sound racist to you?
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again?
If Trump says that this judge cannot oversee my case because he's a Mexican, does that sound racist to you?
Yeah, that does.
Yeah, he said that. And to answer your question about Biden, I do believe there's a lot of folks in the minority community that think Biden does have a racist past, may somewhat be racist now. But as long as his opponent is Trump, they're going to view Biden as a lesser of two evils. Most of the stuff we bring up that Biden said that sounds suspicious or racist, other than vote for me or you ain't black, most of it is decades old. The stuff they're bringing up on Trump is very recent. Many of it happened during his presidency. So they're going to pick Biden as a lesser of two evils. If it was Nikki Haley or somebody, I think your point will be stronger. But as long as it's Trump, they're going to pick Biden as less racist than Trump.
But, I mean, Biden has said things recently. I mean, he called LL Cool J a boy. He said it.
Wait a minute. He called LL Cool J a boy and literally corrected that statement in the same sentence.
Yeah, but I mean, it came out of him, dude.
Okay, all right.
It was building up inside of him, dude.
All right, so
it sounds like he talks like that behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, fair enough. So do we kick Biden to the curb and vote for a guy that says the judge can't even oversee him because he's a Mexican, or a guy who wants a total ban on Muslims? That's what I'm talking about. You're looking at a lesser of two evils.
Thank you, Dave. But so when did Trump say that about the Mexican?
When
did he say that?
I believe he had it was either his Trump University lawsuit or his I think it was the Trump University. I mean, all you got to do is Google those words, and it comes up where he actually said you can't adjudicate this case because you're a Mexican. He's actually stated that on TV. It's not somebody else's quote or anything. Came out of his mouth. It's on video.
But like, what was the context of that? Because I don't know. I don't think he would just say something that.
Yeah, I'll tell you that the context is he was suggesting that Mexicans are sending rapists and murderers and things like that, and thereby he felt any Mexican that oversees a case of mine is going to have a gripe against me because they think I hate Mexicans.
Oh, okay. So so basically what you're saying is that he thought that person who was supposedly Mexican, that he was going to have a
gripe.
What's the word? What's the word I'm looking for?
A vendetta.
After what? Yeah. So like after what Trump said about Mexicans coming over here, right?
Yeah.
You're saying that guy could have hated Trump because of that, right?
No, Trump is saying that because of what he said about Mexican immigrants, any judge that is Mexican is going to automatically treat them unfair.
Because of what Trump said, right?
That's his opinion, yes.
So then it's not really, in a way, it's not really racist, right?
Really?
It's just...
You're really saying that taking an innocent judge and automatically assuming that he's going to have a viewpoint of Trump because of something that has nothing to do with him is not racist. He's branding this guy without any judgment of his character. He's going solely on his heritage. You don't see that as racist?
No, because, well, it depends, man, because a lot of people took what he said about Mexicans out of context. He said, he didn't say all of them, right? He said some of them, which is a fact. It is a fact. If you think that all Mexicans are perfect, then you're just being delusional.
So if I'm a Nation of Islam member that routinely says negative things about white people, I get in trouble with the law and the judge is white, it's okay for me to just say, well, this judge is not going to treat me right because he's white. It's okay to say that about any white judge because of something that I said. That's what you're telling me, and that's not racist.
No, I can see why you think it's racist. I just think that there's context behind it. Like,
There's no context.
for example, Trump. Yeah, like Trump specifically gets targeted a lot, dude. Like he is well loved around the country, but people make it seem like he's hated by many, which is just not true. And they slander his name. They do all kinds of things to Trump, man. I mean, look at what happened with Gene Carroll.
Okay, let me stop. You're an interesting guest. I'll let you continue, but I'm shocked that you think taking an innocent judge and demanding he be taken off the bench strictly due to his heritage. He has done nothing wrong. Trump is judging the guy solely based on his Hispanic heritage, and you don't see that as racist. Didn't question the guy, didn't check his history, his education, or anything. You're Mexican, you can't be over my case, and you don't see anything racist about that at all.
I would if
you would if you were the judge and somebody was telling you you couldn't do your job, you would see it as racist.
No, well, here's the thing, right? It depends. So how did that guy get assigned to the Trump case? Is he a Democrat?
No. If you weren't analyzing Joe Biden's boy with LL Cool J or vote for me or you ain't black, if you were analyzing all his context like this, I'd give you credit, but you're really reaching to come up with a way this ain't racist. This is racist as hell. I'm laughing because I can't believe you coming at it like this. I don't know how the judge was appointed to Trump's case, but usually judges have no say-so over how they get a case. They just receive the docket. This is who your defendant's going to be. This is who represents them. This is who is pursuing charges. They don't have any control over that. So that's how he usually gets the case. Strictly business. Thank you. So I don't, how is it not racist is baffling.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I think Biden, you said that he hasn't done anything recently, but I think that obviously racism is obsolete. Like, you can't be openly racist anymore, obviously. So he can't use that as a tactic, right? He can't use that as a strategy. So what is he going to do? He's going to gain the minority vote by pandering, and that's what he's done because he said Obama being clean and articulate was something you would find in a storybook, right? Yeah. But he still ran with Obama, right? He still put Kamala Harris in, even though Kamala Harris prosecuted many African-American men for...
That's 30, like, but this is what I mean when I say it's not recent. Kamala Harris, that stuff's 30 years old.
Right, but they claim to be full-blown progressives, right? And they're not. They just pander to minorities.
They don't claim to be full-blown progressives. They are Democrats. I don't see Kamala or Biden as a progressive. That's why AOC and Bernie Sanders are not big fans of theirs. They're not progressives. They're Democrats.
I don't know, man. I think maybe they say certain things to appeal to progressives.
I believe that. I think all politicians say certain things to appeal to people. You don't think Trump offering a pardon to the January 6th arrestees, you don't think he's doing that to appeal to people? They all do that. William, damn, thank you. They all do that. That is called being a politician, saying things that appeal to people. You don't think Nikki Haley pointing out that the writers went too far on abortion, you don't think she's trying to appeal to women? That's how you politic.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I think everything that's going on, I don't know about always, but right now what we're seeing is that, you know, Obama just came out with this movie, right? He helped write the script. I saw somebody in the comments say that he didn't write it. He helped with the script, and he also produced the movie. They are talking about not having trust in white people. They are talking about fearing white people and that white people are going to end the world. That is what they basically said in the movie. That is racist, right? Right off the bat, you should think Democrats are racist after that, but that's not going to happen, right?
Well, you want me to hold every single Democrat accountable for what Obama said when a hell of a lot of Obama supporters are saying he didn't do enough for Chicago, and there's a lot of Democrats that don't like Obama that much. So the idea that if Obama says something, every single Democrat should be branded with it, then that means if Trump says a Mexican can't oversee his case, I should brand every Republican with that statement. Is that what you're telling me?
No, but let me just say one more thing, and then I'll let you bring somebody else up, right?
You're doing good. Go ahead. You're doing good.
Yeah. And first of all, man, I want to say thank you for being respectful because when I join people's lives that disagree with me, it usually doesn't go like this. They usually kick me out or whatever. So I appreciate that, man.
That'll never happen here.
I just want to say one more thing, right?
Sure.
I think this is my opinion. I think Michelle Obama is going to run like at the last minute, and we that Leave the World Behind movie. It's kind of suspicious, man. It's kind of like a wake up call. Like, this is what's going to happen in America type of thing. I don't know. I think something might happen before election, like the power grid. Something going wrong with the power grid or something like that. That's just my opinion, right?
All right.
But I think that when President Biden said in 2017 that he was going to let in waves of immigrants to make white people the minority, and he said this sitting next to Alejandro Mayorkas, which is the guy of the Homeland Security, right? This guy deals with the border. So he already made it clear, right? The replacement theory, they say it's a conspiracy theory. He already made that clear that that's what's going on, right? And then not only is Biden trying to make white people the minority, but Obama is talking about being afraid of white people, right? Now, that is extremely racist, and I don't see how I could ever vote for that party. But that's just me, man.
All right. Appreciate you coming on. You're always welcome back. Good conversation. All right.
Thanks, man.
Hey, you too. Going back to the box. Now, I don't know about Biden saying what he talked about, letting in waves of immigrants. I can't speak on it. I didn't see it, but it's kind of coming to fruition. Here's the problem, though. He pointed out Obama making racist statements. He pointed out Biden talking about letting in waves of immigrants and things like that. Well, you got to hold Trump accountable for saying he's going to be a dictator for a day. The only thing I want to point out is, this is where I try to maintain a fair program and where I get flack from both sides because I'm not taking a side. Be consistent. That's all I ask. Be consistent. I'm not going. Look, when you concede points, like when he brought up my last guest talking about pegging, I didn't run from that comment. When he made me think of it, I had to admit, that's an over the top comment, and I enjoy talking to Moo all the time. But be consistent. You can't hold Biden, Kamala, Obama accountable for all their statements, and then when Trump says something controversial, it's suddenly a joke. If you're going to hold these world leaders, these elite members of our society, accountable for what's coming out of their mouth, then I don't want to hear that it's a joke when Trump says it. Because then all of a sudden Obama could say, well, that white thing was a joke. You wouldn't accept that. So when somebody's talking about grabbing women by their vagina and all this stuff, if it comes out of your mouth, do we hold you accountable or don't we hold you accountable? Because when it comes to Trump, it's always a joke. He didn't mean it. The guy came out and stated he was going to be a dictator. You're going to hold him accountable for talking about letting in immigrants, but the dictator thing gets a pass. So all I'm talking, in the idea, I had to let, that vote for me and you ain't black is racist, but saying a judge can't oversee your case because he's Mexican is not. I don't know where to go with that. But I'm going to go back to the box because a lot of you folks are in waiting. I do appreciate that, and we will keep it moving. We'll go straight to, I saw somebody holding I wanted to bring up, but he's not there. We'll go to Jamie Fitz. Did that say gangbang or bang bang? Jamie Fitz, good afternoon. I take it you've been listening in. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon. I'll make it brief only because I'm at work. I've been listening in for a little bit. The only thing I want to talk on really is about the Trump saying he wants to be a dictator for a day, but it's being taken out of context.
How do you take it out of context?
Because it's to, first of all, we had a massive invasion of the border. That needs to be resolved because we do not have enough resources in the United States to keep taking on every single person from every country that decides, oh, it's a free pass, borders open, let's go. And it's been going on since day one of Joe Biden.
Well, let me ask you first, to settle to deal with what took place at the border, do you need to be a dictator to do that?
Well, you kind of are. He's going to kind of have to, yes, because then you go to it's a kind of like bring it back to the ICE days where you gotta literally go look for these people that are gotaways or had court dates but never went, and you have to round them up and deport them back to their country.
So you're suggesting that as president he couldn't do this, but as a dictator he could. Are you talking like the Gestapo, where you can go in people's houses without a warrant if you think they got immigrants? I mean, because you say he has to be a dictator. What would he?
Yep.
Okay.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. No warrant, no nothing. Is if you're known to be illegal, then yes. Then wherever you're residing or wherever you're working, and I mean, I'm telling you, I can tell you my husband's job, there are about 9 of them that have no documentation. They have to go to the next city over every single day and fill out paperwork and state where they worked, what hours they worked.
But Jamie, here's the problem though. I agree that you could probably get a hell of a lot more immigrants out of this country as a dictator than you can going through the law as a president, but you're not going to do it in one day. If he said he needs to be a dictator to address our immigrant problem, he's going to need more than a day. A lot. I mean, there's millions of people here. So, in other words, to do what he needs to do, we need him to be a dictator for longer than that then, right?
You don't think he's not already gathering up, seeing he's running for president, you don't think he's already gathering up like a squad of people that he's going to have be able to do this, that he can, and you don't think he's not keeping tabs?
In one day? You think he can do this in one day?
Well, make the order in one day. Do I think if he makes the order in that one day, and then people will call him a dictator because of it, but it has to continue where they're being captured, then, I mean, you can't continue to call him a dictator because
Wait a minute. If you pass a law on day one that gives law enforcement the authority to do warrantless searches on homes where they suspect illegal immigrants are inhabited. I assume you can do profiling, random checks to make sure people got an ID. You pass this law on day one, and they're enforcing this weeks down the line, and you're like, well, I'm not a dictator now. Well, that would mean the citizens could take you back to court and say you're violating the 4th Amendment all over the country with these warrantless searches. So the only way he can successfully do what you're talking about is to be a dictator for a lot more than one day.
I mean, I don't know. My personal opinion is if he makes that order and it has to continue out of, put it to you this way. I can tell you from factual knowledge that, because they literally live right up the street from my house, there is a whole house that is filled with MS-13.
Let me just ask you, because I understand you, like a lot of folks, and there's nothing wrong with this, but you're concerned with unknowns entering our country. Would you support what we're discussing here, warrantless searches by law enforcement? I think you got immigrants in your house. They just come in your house against your will, and they can look around. If they find somebody, they can take them. Would you support that?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So what do you do if you go in someone's house and they don't have any immigrants, they're not violating the law? Do you give them money? How do you make those people whole?
I mean, that I don't know, but I mean, I don't know.
Let's say I'm going to work, and
wait, hold on, I'll be back in about 15 minutes. I got it. Someone's knocking on my
all right,
door.
appreciate you coming in. All right, moving on. And look, that would be problematic. There's no other way I can. Somebody said apologize. Who said that? Coach, what does that say? Coach Z or something? Apologize for what? We let the people speak. That's obviously problematic. That's about as close to 1930s Germany as you can get. That is exactly how Anne Frank was eventually captured in the attic. Exactly what she talked about. Come in the house against your will, search around, take out the Jewish person that they don't believe should be there. That is, you can't describe 1930s Germany any better than that. And that would fall right in line with vermin and invasion and all of these other terms that people are saying are dog whistles. What she stated, you're not going to hear that from a politician on the right or the left, particularly on the right. Now, you may hear it from voters on the right, but you're not going to hear that from a politician. That would be referred to as saying the quiet part out loud. You cannot say what she said and say that, well, I'm not like the small mustache guy. Or you can't say anything anymore after defending that. That is probably as strong as, that is the strongest statement I've ever heard in favor of 1930s Germany. That is literally the playbook of the Gestapo. Not racist at all. Not racist at all. All right, look in the comments. And that's how MAGA people think. I don't think all MAGA thinks like that. I'm not gonna go that far, because I get a lot of folks on the right, and I always enjoy talking to MAGA and liberals alike. And by the way, tap the screen, get your boy up to 60,000. We got 800 plus of you in here. You could be anywhere. Glad to have you here, despite some of the passionate opinions. You know how we run the program. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. I don't believe MAGA as a whole operates like that, because a lot of folks are constitutionalists. Keep in mind, there are plenty of folks on the right printing guns, making their own bullets, maybe having a firearm that they shouldn't have. Remember, anything you support that's unconstitutional could eventually be used against you. The liberals are not big fans of people having access to any and all firearms. You pass a law that allows warrantless searches to go looking for immigrants, and then a liberal takes the commander-in-chief's position, all of a sudden you got a Democrat president, they're going to use that same damn law to come looking in your house for guns. Just understand that when you support something, this is what I just stated before that caller, be consistent. Understand what works for the goose. You've heard the statement, works for the goose, works for the gander. You start passing these laws where they don't have to acknowledge the Fourth Amendment to go looking for immigrants. And like I said, you get a liberal administration, and now they're using that same law to go looking for guns. How's that? You okay with that now? Understand that. Look it in the comments. I don't want the government in my house. Damn right. That should be the answer. Randy in the comments, that should be everyone's answer. Don't ever be, I don't want to use the word hate, but I don't have a synonym for it in this case. Don't have that mindset so strong that you're willing to throw away your constitutional rights to get some type of satisfaction. Just, that's all I can say. Don't ever find yourself that pissed off at something that you're willing to throw away the Constitution to get satisfaction. Because as I pointed out, there could be a time when that same law could be used on somebody, could be used by somebody that hates you. It can be used again. All of these laws are recyclable. Don't set those type of precedents. Going to the box. Fair enough. Going back to the box. Wow. That's the first time. What does it say? M. Renee. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. It starts with one right removed. Many would agree with that. It starts with one right removed, and it trickles down other stuff. Renee, good afternoon.
Well, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm in the trenches.
I have.
Okay, I'll give you the floor.
Let you know, I always voted Democrat, but up until now, I did vote for Trump. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I just want to let you know I've been on both sides of the fence here.
Okay. What? No, wait. Let me make sure I get clarity. Did you vote for Trump twice or once or what?
Nope, I voted.
So you voted for Obama both times and then Trump?
I voted for Obama both times.
Okay.
I always voted Democrat before.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Reason being,
yeah, go
I
ahead.
do not agree with what that woman just said previous.
I'm going to vote for Trump again.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk to you about.
Sure.
So, I do not like the way the country's going right now. Okay, me and you both live in this country. This ain't, I'm a right side, you're a left side. You're my brother the way I look at it.
Okay.
If I see you down, I'm going to reach my hand there and pull you up.
That was starting to sound like a Trump audio recording for a minute there. Keep going.
No, it's me. It's really me.
You start reaching your hand down there and pulling me out. That's locker room talk.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, just like one of our family members fall, you're there to pick them up. You know, that's how I was raised.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Anyway, my point being, I don't like the way the country, I mean, I live here, you know what I'm saying? Things, everything, it's not just one thing, but everything is going haywire. I mean, and talking about borders, we do. I mean, you can't deny that either. I don't care who you're voting for. They got to do something. Not a dictatorship where they come in my house, but they need to do something. Biden, he's not doing nothing. Nobody's doing nothing, but everybody's barking. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
So when I tell you I can't vote for Biden, I'm telling you I won't vote for Biden. They're doing absolutely nothing. Now, going to Trump, I like the way Trump was trying to run things.
Okay.
Trying to.
Okay.
But from the very beginning, and honestly, I mean, we got to be straight up with each other. Democrats never let him do his job. It was always something from.
Let me elaborate on that. You are correct. He had problems the moment he was in office. Now, you voted for Obama twice, right?
Yes, I did.
How did you feel about, after voting for Trump, him stating that the last guy you voted for was not qualified because he was born in Kenya?
Well, let me. Yeah, that's stupid.
Well,
some of the stuff.
It's stupid, but yeah. But hang on. It's
wow.
Yeah, but I'm saying when folks bring up that Trump had problems from day one, is it possible that before day one came about, he had already been attacking people? We're talking about saying that the president should not be qualified to lead this country because he was born in Kenya. You don't think that created enemies for him on day one?
No, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
All right.
I do. I'm not going to deny that.
Okay.
I do, but here's my problem. You know, when now we have presidential debates, you know, when they're up there, they're bashing each other. You know, what he said, do I agree with it? No. I don't care what color somebody is. If they're running this country the way it should be for Americans, who cares? You know, I thought Obama was a great speaker.
Mm-hmm.
He can speak very well. Do I like the way Trump speaks sometimes? Not at all.
But wait a minute, Renee, in regards to the statement that as long as he's running the country, who cares what he says? You do realize people like Ashley Babbitt are dead because of what he said. I mean, what he's saying is getting people are in prison because of what he's saying. What he's saying does matter.
Yeah, but hold on. The statement about Obama, I don't agree with. But some of the statements he says it very sarcastic, where, you know, he's down. But some of it's true. Okay.
Right.
But the way he says it, it comes off in a bad way. But some of the stuff he says is true.
Is any of it racist?
So yes and no. But I've heard it on both sides.
That's fine, but we're talking about him right now.
Okay, we'll talk about Trump. Yes, I've heard it. I've heard where I don't think he's racist all the way. I don't think that.
Wait a minute. You said you don't think he's racist all. What are you, halfway pregnant? What does that mean?
Hold on, let me clarify.
Okay.
So I don't think that he goes out in the world and he's racist. I don't think if he sees somebody, you know, in color or whatever, you know, he's just straight out racist. Okay, I don't think that. I do think that he has made racist comments, and only because of Obama. Okay, you know, he was going up against the Democrats. Hold on, I know you're looking at me.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of. I mean,
statement, but it is. But they were coming at him too. You know, I mean, instead of sitting back.
Renee, you've been listening to the program. The man said a judge cannot adjudicate his case because he's a Mexican. What does that got to do with Obama or even the Democrats? He went after a judge due to the guy's heritage. The Democrats and Obama ain't got nothing to do with that.
Yeah, that's true. See, that's what I'm saying. So there is both. I mean, he does come off some dumbass shit.
All right, there we go. We're getting somewhere now. Keep going.
You know, and I can't argue that point because I sat there going, what did he just say?
Yeah.
You know, but here's what okay. The Democrats have changed, and you look like you're about my age, okay? I've always voted Democrat, always.
Okay.
Because I thought they were for the people, you know? They're for the lower class. That's what I always thought, you know? I'm not rich. I don't have a lot of money. I always voted Democrat. My parents voted Democrat. You know, because they were for the people. They're for us, right?
Okay.
Not no more. They're for anything now. Anything goes. And if you can't say that, being our age, me and you could have grew up next door to each other, and you know, but it's changed. And the way they're running stuff now, how many billions of dollars have we gave to other countries? How many? We can't even count it. Billions of dollars just on Biden's watch. Okay.
But I have to. Okay, let me respond to that. I'll let you keep going. But in regards to Biden giving billions of dollars to other countries, let's take Trump out of the picture and put Nikki Haley in there, or Christie, or any of the other Do you think they wouldn't be helping the Ukraine and giving money? Because they all raised their hands up. You think Trump wouldn't be helping out the Israelis? So when you say Biden is giving,
yeah. America is always the first to stand up and get into shit. You know that.
So that's not a wait. The reason I'm bringing it, that's not a Democratic thing. They all would do that. Republicans would be helping Israel out.
We're talking about Biden and Trump.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair point.
It's changed, is what I'm saying. They're for anything now. And what I'm trying to tell you is, me and you got to worry about next week's check. And everything is inflation, and we're still giving away money. Now, you tell me, and be honest, regardless of what you think about Trump, do you think that would happen? We have the country scared of us.
All right, I can answer that. Yeah, I can answer that pretty easy.
Strong personality.
Yeah, I can. Right? Well, I can answer in regards to giving money away. Here's where I think. Now, a lot of folks are agreeing with you, that, in my opinion, even on the left, that we shouldn't be giving money to all these other countries. But here's the problem, though. When you look at how things were going before we started giving a ton of money to the Ukraine, you had folks asking for tuition loan forgiveness that would overwhelmingly help Americans. You had folks asking for universal health care that would overwhelmingly help Americans. Folks are asking for unemployment insurance that would overwhelmingly help Americans. Folks are asking for a minimum wage increase that would overwhelmingly help Americans. The problem I have is this. If the Ukraine became free, let's say they defeated Russia with our help, got Russia to create a peace treaty or whatever and leave them alone, and the Ukraine got their import-export market back on track, and they started making money again as a country, exporting wheat and their other products, and they were able to repay the United States every penny they got from us, do you think your life would change at all if we got all of that money back?
It would if they were us. Nobody, okay, listen, you put more money into our country, we got a bigger flow, right? We got money flowing in and out. If our government, the way it sits now, brings that money back, okay, the government now, they're not giving us nothing because it's working right now the way it's going. And the reason being, because everybody hates Trump. If we come together united, though, and think about it as a whole, me and you, think about this together and say, you know what, this ain't going our way.
I don't get you.
This is not.
But keep in mind, the Ukraine conflict just took place 2 years ago next month. So it's only been 2 years since we started sending them assistance. That means during the Trump administration, we weren't sending any money to the Ukraine at all. Do you see where Trump was giving you money and helping you out? We had the money in our, we actually had the money in our pockets. We hadn't sent any of it overseas. Do you see where Trump was giving you money and helping you out?
Hold on, I'm going to tell you how. Yes, because inflation wasn't skyrocket. We didn't have $3 and something cent gas, $4 a gallon. We didn't have food costs that were climbing up the. I don't know about you, but I'm a single mom. I'm a single woman. I get one paycheck. I had to sell my house. I'm now renting a house because I couldn't find a house. It was skyrocket out of my league. So you got housing up now. You have inflation up now, food, gas, everything. And no, I'm not getting nothing.
You believe,
So, yes,
wait, you
my
believe,
issue is-
you believe that sending money to the Ukraine is what caused our inflation to go up?
I believe sending money to the Ukraine, letting all these illegals in, but they can live for free. We're going to give them the money to go get housing. And here's a food stamp card. You go buy your food off of that. Blah, blah, blah. But me, the single woman American, what am I doing? I'm trying to scrape up $1,800 for rent to pay for rent. I have to buy food.
What part of the country? Wait, 1,800. What part of the country are you in where you're paying $1,800 for rent?
I'm in Michigan.
1,800? How big is that crib?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir. $1,800, and he wanted $2,000, but he rented it to me because he liked me. And I'm telling you, this is just a normal 2-bedroom ranch home. That's what they're going for. This is insane. So you talk about, I'm sorry.
Okay, apparently.
Did I lose you?
No, you're still here. Okay, apparently something's going.
Okay.
We'll move it on. I don't know what was going on, but listen, what her opinion of what's going on, that's a very popular opinion. Now, I see it a little bit more in depth than that, but I can't, perception is reality. So I'm not here to suggest what that woman is going through is not real in her eyes. The issue I have is this. When it comes to the notion that if we weren't sending money overseas, we could be doing better with that money in this country. I've said this before numerous times. If you could see groups of Americans saying, before we started helping out the Ukraine, we weren't homeless. They had more shelters. Or I was getting Medicare payments and supplements before they started sending the money to the Ukraine. Or they were giving me a certain amount of food stamps to survive before they started sending money to the Ukraine. I think the whole argument would have more weight to it. But in reality, the poor were poor then. The poor who are poor now, who feel like they are not being looked after, were not being looked after before the money was sent overseas. I don't see, and which is why I asked her, I don't see if the Ukraine gave us all that money back, I don't think the average American would see their life change one damn bit. And oddly enough, the folks on the right are the ones that's saying if the money came back, we'd be treated better. But all of the things that we would consider that would be better for us, they're against. Universal health care is one I brought up. Tuition assistance, minimum wage. These are things that would overwhelmingly help Americans. A tuition forgiveness legislation, probably 95% of the people benefiting from that would be Americans. Take care of Americans first. Universal health care. Now, we got a hell of an issue with immigrants now, but this is before that, overwhelmingly. The people benefiting from universal health care would be Americans. They were vehemently against universal health care under Obama. Totally against it, which is why, to some degree, it's not a great piece of health care right now, because the Republicans were ripping it to shreds. Whether it's an expansion of food stamp programs, free lunch in schools, you name it. The Republicans are against all these social policies. But they're also saying, bring the money back home so we can help out and do more for Americans. I don't see it. I don't see how you could be against all social policies. And I mean just about all of them. Just about all of the social policies, Republicans tend to be against. But then they're suggesting if the money came back, we'd somehow be better. I don't see it. Maybe I'm missing something. Let me know in the comments, but maybe I'm missing something. I don't see any poor people in America that are saying before we started sending money to the Ukraine, they were actually helping us out. I don't see any group of people, any category, homeless, women's shelters, you name it. Hell, even the ASPCA. We didn't have as many stray dogs out here until you started sending money to the Ukraine. Now there's less dog catchers. I don't see any group of people suggesting that they were being looked after better when the money was here. Which is why I stated to her, I don't think our lives would change much at all. And because of that, there's not a huge sentiment, certainly on liberals, among liberals, to bring the money back. We don't think it's going to make a difference. If you're not going to get the money to me, then go make sure those people still have a country to call their home, their own. Now, if you're going to help me out of homelessness or something like that, I might be on your side. But kicking the Ukrainians to the curb when nobody else is going to benefit but a few very wealthy politicians, fuck it. Let the Ukrainians have it. That's how I see it. In the comments, I'm pretty sure Melania set up free breakfast and lunches for all students in school. Well, that's changed. That has definitely changed. There are Republican governments all over this country that are cutting back free lunches in schools. Just Google it. Google it. You'll get a host of counties and states. I'm in one, so I know it's happening. I'm in one. Government ain't helping you. Yeah, exactly. So the idea of bringing the money home, if I should pull myself up by my bootstraps, then it doesn't matter if the money's here or not. You're not gonna allocate the government, give me what you refer to as a handout. So then fuck it, help the Ukrainians. That's how I see it. Going back. Appeal approved. Moo! Shout out to you, Moo. Appreciate, glad to hear the update. Going to the one and only Winter Trump. We always have a spirited debate. Winter Trump, good afternoon.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. The floor is yours. You've been listening in. Where am I getting wrong?
Yeah, well, I don't think that guy should have got his appeal approved. He was saying some really gross stuff, and that stuff shouldn't be allowed on a children's app. But, but when it comes to, Donald Trump, I think we just got to get this border under control. I mean, it is what it is.
Do you support what one of my callers was suggesting, giving him the power to be dictator for a day to get it under control, where you could do warrantless searches, stop and frisk without any cause, just to make sure you get folks out of the country that shouldn't be here legally?
Well, I do think we need to take extreme measures because we have an extreme problem. Like, we're shutting down schools now because we have nowhere to put these people. New York is now asking people to house these people in their own homes. Is that something you would ever do? Would you let an immigrant family move in with you?
If I had the money, yeah, I would actually.
You have kids?
Yeah.
You'd let them in with your kids and stuff and your wife?
Well, I would want to, it depends on, if I going to move in 4 Arnold Schwarzeneggers in their heyday, maybe not. But if it's a family, I would have to sit down and look at it, but I'm not close to it. I am not completely close to doing it. Now, they're not going to be maybe in the basement. Maybe I'll make a room in the garage or something like that, but it's getting them off the street.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that's something that's insane. It's we're just going to bring all these people into your country. We didn't vet any of them. A lot of these people have a lot of problems. How about, you want to let them into your homes now?
So when you said extreme measures, give me some examples of what you think may be necessary because there's millions here. Give me some examples of what you think might be necessary to get this under control.
Oh, it just takes you just need a little bit of initiative. We have so much technology when it comes to tracking people down, registry, when it comes to technology, especially.
Wait. They're here already now by hundreds of thousands. How are you going to track somebody down that is already here? What are you going to do?
Well, they can use their cell phone. If they have an active cell phone plan, I mean, that'd be pretty easy. Same way you track a criminal. Same way you can track these people if they're catching on to that. I mean,
so let me give you an example. One of the immigrants has a cell phone that was handed out to him. You have the data to the cell phone. You've traced it to my house. I'm at home. The data shows that this person, or at least this phone, is in my house. You knock on the door. I either do not answer or do not give you permission to enter my house. You feel confident the immigrant is in there. Should you be able to come in against my will?
I don't know. It's a good question. I'm not sure, like, that would be, like, written into the law. But I guess, like, maybe if they see him and they know 100% and you're, like, harboring the criminal, I would see. Like, oh, yeah, I'm fair for that. Like, I wouldn't want you to let him get away. Like, if you're, like, actively trying to harbor this guy, yeah, sure, we're going to come in there and get him. None of this, like, protecting him.
What if you don't see him, but the data on the phone makes it clear this person, this phone at the very least, you look at the phone log, you can see this person has been making phone calls.
Oh, this phone is active in this house. Yeah, there's something going on there.
All
yeah,
right.
no.
So you can come in the house without a warrant because the phone is in that house.
Well, I think there would be a way to quickly approve this stuff. Like, these warrants would be ready to go. Like, you would have a judge on standby. Like, there would be process. Like, the same way they can break into your emails with just, like, a button with the, the Julian Assange, Edward Snowden's type stuff.
Okay.
The same way they can,
So you're basically saying having judges around to rubber stamp these warrants to get the process moving.
Yeah, I mean, we have so many federal judges, so many state judges. I don't know. They're trying to, like, push, like, trans right and get all these people into the country or start wars in Ukraine. Such like if our federal, like our security apparatus, the DOJ, like all these 3-letter agencies, like if we actually put them to the use to like doing something in our country instead of just like, go after like white people on Twitter or whatever, like there would actually.
I don't think they're just going at the white people on Twitter. I've been blocked on.
Not just that. They're starting foreign wars. They're doing coups in other countries, stuff like that, installing regimes, pro-Western regimes. They're doing a lot of stuff, but not a lot of stuff around here for us.
Okay. Now, real quick, I'll let you continue, but in the comments, Holy Cap says, Tim, you would not house an illegal. The issue with this is, folks, we're calling these folks illegals because folks believe there's too many of them in the country. And I'm not disagreeing that we got a lot of folks in this country, but in reality, these folks are not illegal. Our law allows for folks to come up to a border agent and seek asylum, and then they have to be given a hearing. The overwhelming majority of these folks all over the streets are not illegal. The law says they have a right to file asylum. So when we keep calling these folks illegals, but by our own law, they're not here illegally.
No, that's garbage, though. Like, everyone knows that, like, the foreign, like, even the Mexican government, they go and give these people a script. Like, it's exactly what you say to the United States official. It's like, I'm seeking asylum, and then they have to do this. It's like, we have to reform this. It's being completely exposed. It's like, they're coming to our country and they're grabbing with both hands, just like they're kicking our kids out of our middle schools. They want you to come into your homes and they want you to feed them. They want you to sleep under the same roofs with your kids. It's enough. It's enough.
But what I'm saying, even if they know what to say or whatever, fact is they are not here illegally. If they file asylum and they don't have the right to do so, then they get deported. But they are not here illegally until their asylum claim gets denied or their visa, they're overstaying a visa or something. But most of these folks are not here illegally.
So what? You say you're seeking asylum? Is it automatic visa forever? I don't think that's the process.
As I said, until they overstay their visa, they're not here illegally. They file it. They ask for asylum. They're given a court date to state their case. Because of the sheer number of them, you can assume those court dates are, because the courts can only handle so many of them. So these court dates ain't gonna happen in the next 3 or 4 days. They may be months down the road. But until they are deemed they are deemed or denied their asylum claim, they're here legally. They are not here illegally.
Obviously, the system's been completely abused, and if that's not even a good word for it, it's been like.
Well, but wait a minute. But Winter, they used to find me as 3/5 of a human. People have been abusing the system from day one. We had a system that said all men are created equal, and they found a way to deem me as only 3/5 of a human being. They've always abused the system. I would assure you right now, President Trump is pushing the system. I mean, people find loopholes. As Trump stated on his own taxes, if you don't like what I do, then change the law. Same thing with the immigrants. If you don't like what they're doing, then change the law.
Well, yeah, that's the plan. Like, it's not good enough for, it's like, well, we found this loophole, and, well, black people were treated badly once, so therefore we're just going to gut your whole country and have the immigrants take with both hands. And,
Yeah. I'm just simply telling you, you can't blame the immigrants for doing things that everybody else in this country. Shit, I don't pay every single penny I have to pay on taxes. If I can find a loophole, I exploit the loophole. We're complaining that they're doing shit that we do too.
Yeah, but they're not us. You want people who aren't even from here exploiting our system? Like, these people, it's like, imagine any other country. What other country in the world can I go and just take with both hands, get whatever I want? It doesn't exist. Why does it have to be America?
What do you mean by take whatever you want with both hands? Do you see immigrants as living large? You think they're rich? While they're sitting on the floor on some street corner? You really see that as being wealthy?
When it comes to allocation of social funds, the numbers that I'm seeing, I think it's like $60 billion in a year. Okay? You know how many? That's insane.
But that's $60 billion split amongst millions of people. You think the average immigrant that comes in this country is living high off the hog? You think they're eating steak every night?
Well, actually, they did try to feed them steak in the New York City, like, 5-star hotel, and they, like, refused it. But I'm not saying, like, it's not my idea that, like, no, they're not, like, I know they're living in, like, tents and shit. It's not, a lot of these people, they're promised a lot more. And what they come here and they go, this is shitty. We don't like this. We want to live in a nice house. Yeah, I get that. Like, it's not great living environments, but
it's not even, it's not even humane. It's not even, some of these folks are living on the street.
To the residents of the city. It's not humane to the residents of anywhere where they go.
Yeah.
Just
but I will tell you this, based on our conversation, and you're talking about they tried to feed them steak and things in New York, and you see the way they're getting treated in Florida and in Texas. For folks claiming that the liberals are only letting them in because they turn in the votes, you're making sure that you're guaranteeing that's going to happen. Because when you look at the way the right is treating immigrants,
we're going to get them out. We're going to kick them out.
You're not going to get all those people out. You know that's not going to happen. I mean, particularly
every single person that went in the January 6th with cell phone data, we have mandatory e-verify. Like, if we wanted to, if you actually got the people in there that wanted to get it done,
yeah.
Oh my God, it would be so easy.
Well, the problem is because you sent a ton of them up north, I don't see the mayor of New York cooperating with you. You sent these folks here to destroy my city. Now, all of a sudden, to make your voters like you for getting them out, you want me to help you with that too? You wouldn't get assistance from Chicago and Philadelphia. These cities would not help.
Chicago residents would support it. The Chicago and New York residents would overwhelmingly support it. Sure, maybe the bureaucrats would be like, I don't even know. The bureaucrats would be like, what? We're hanging on to all these illegals. They make our city great. If the only place in America with illegals were these places harboring them, sure, that'd be fine. They wouldn't be allowed to go anywhere, in the places that didn't have them, they'd start trending upward immediately.
Bro, that's only until the next guy gets elected. But the reason why I tell you it wouldn't work, now there's liberals in Chicago and places like that are pissed off that there's so many immigrants, they're taking up their resources. However, when you start imposing those Gestapo tactics where you got mothers and children, like if you send me back to Guatemala, they're going to murder me and my baby. Those liberals that are bitching that this person is taking their school up or taking a hotel room, you would start seeing a lot of sympathetic liberals hiding them out. It would literally be like Anne Frank, which is what I mentioned earlier. You would have to send G-men, government officials, because these liberal cities wouldn't cooperate, and start going in houses and taking these people. It would be a mess. I don't see all of these northern cities, they wouldn't comply with that. Even some of their own citizens, when faced with sending somebody to die, might start saying, yeah, they're taking resources, but I don't want the person to be sent somewhere where they're going to get killed. I don't think you'd get cooperation.
Yeah, I don't know. When they have the power to go into Mar-a-Lago, right in the red heart of Florida, and rip Donald Trump out of there and take the documents, why can't we do it to some illegal immigrant in frickin' New York? That's insane. That's to me. If the feds want to go in there, what? the New York State troopers going to draw on them and say, no, you're not going to go after this immigrant? I don't think so. Those feds are going to go in there. Is that what's going to happen?
Well, first of all, you got to understand there's a lot of feds that sympathize with the liberal side of the aisle too. Just like there were Capitol Police that let MAGA in on January 6th. There are people in law enforcement that have political bias, and I do believe that there would be federal agents that would not want to agree with that.
Get them out. I mean, if you don't want to do your job, like these people, we got a mission. We're doing one of the greatest deportation campaigns of the world's ever seen. We made a huge mistake. We've made terrible, you need big solution. It's got to be extreme. These solutions have to be extreme.
All right. We'll see if it happens. I got to move it on, but I do believe if you get Trump in office, he will attempt to do what you're hoping. I don't know how much cooperation he would get. Yeah.
And I would love to help out with that too. Any way I could, Mr. Trump.
Help out. You would like to help round up immigrants?
I mean, yeah, that would be one of the greatest things you could do for your country is help take it back. I mean, these people have invaded your nation, I think.
What is your definition of an invasion?
Invasion? I mean, it's it's a takeover. Yeah, they're absolutely.
Did you see what happened? I mean, I'm sure you've seen the movie Saving Private Ryan. They do the Normandy invasion. You putting immigrants in the same category as that?
Saving Private. Well, I think you'd be stupid to use guns. Why would you use guns if I could just go up to the American freaking officials and be like, "Hey, I'm seeking asylum." Go take all their money and stuff, suck on their services, and then launch the attack from the inside. That's how I would do it.
So you do think that immigrants are here to do harm to this country, to actually hurt us?
I don't think it's a coordinated attack, whatever freaking 15 million or whatever the estimate is. Illegal immigrants have this coordinated attack here to destroy our democracy or anything, but it is what's happening, and there are organized groups here illegally who have come here. But it's not all of them that are organized, but it is pretty much what's happening.
Okay, they're not. You think they're sending us rapists and murderers? You think what Trump said is true? That they're not sending.
It benefits their country. You don't how much it costs to house those people? Why not just send them to America?
Wow. All right, I got to move on. I appreciate you coming in as always.
Yeah, no, it's a benefit for Mexico and Venezuela. You got these people, and they're like, you can't prosecute them. Go up to America, go get your free phone, free freaking hotel room, and then, they'll go attack some woman up here, and then they'll throw you in jail, which happens all the time, by the way. All
right, I got to move it on. Now, in regards to what he's saying, that he makes it sound like they just open up the floodgates of prison and we'll just go to America. Well, first of all, let's say, for instance, we wanted to get rid of our felons and send them into Canada. So somebody in Louisiana just opens the prison door and allows that felon to roam across the United States going to Canada. You don't think they could be causing all kinds of mayhem along the route? That doesn't make sense. Why would Mexico, considering the fact that most of the immigrants going through Mexico are not from Mexico, they're Honduras, Guatemalans, Nicaraguans, and all. If they're all rapists and murderers, Mexico would be complaining about a hell of a lot of crime that's happening along the route. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but listen, folks say a lot of things. Look in the comments. Canada does not allow anyone with a record. Yeah, the U.S. doesn't either, by the way. But these folks can't be vetted. I mean, some of these, coming from Venezuela, they don't have a government. So it's not like I'll give you an example, and I'll go back to the box. I migrated to Australia in the early 2000s. They did every damn thing, everything up to and including probing my ass for diseases and you name it. I had to leave in Chicago. I had to get fingerprints if I had any criminal record, I had to show I had no criminal record in Chicago. I had to show I had no criminal record. They made me run the state of Illinois. So I had to also send out for paperwork from Illinois to show I had no criminal record. Then I had to also send my fingerprints to the FBI, show I had no federal criminal record. Then I had to also have my credentials go through Interpol to show I was not wanted in any other country. In addition to that, then I had to go over and take x-rays, blood samples to make sure I was not bringing in pathogens and disease. It was intensive. It was intensive. So if you come to America legally, we do that stuff to you too. And it costs me personally thousands of dollars. That's why folks don't go to countries legally. They don't have the money, not to mention the time. It takes a long time to do that. Just want to bring that up. Looking in the comments, and by the way, because I see in the comments, I can't pronounce the name, Derek or something says they don't play. They do that in America too. If you come legally, they put you through all of the same rigors. It's not cheap. That's why people skirt it, and it takes years. I didn't get that overnight. It takes years to get approval through that. It doesn't happen overnight. That's why you need to have money and time. And immigrants, particularly those fleeing persecution, they don't have either. Can you imagine during the era of slavery when Canada offered free citizenship to African Americans trying to escape up north? Imagine if they had told us that. We got to vet you first. Well, we're all wanted by the government in the South. We're criminals. We escaped the plantation. We would not have been allowed in Canada. Not to mention, the southern states aren't going to give you any records or anything other than to say they're wanted. We would have never been allowed there. If you're fleeing persecution, you're fleeing the authorities, you're not going to meet that criteria. You'll never meet it. Looking in the comments, my kids can't pick fruit for summer play money because of immigration, right? You're saying you're complaining about immigrants coming to this country because your kids normally used to pick fruit for summer. Okay, all right. You might be right, but that is, man, priorities. Looking in the comments, we'll keep it moving. Wow, I've never heard that before. Tammy Rockwell, the kids can't pick fruit for the summer. All right. Privilege is showing. Geez, yeah, that's a good way of phrasing it. Tammy, good afternoon.
Hey, I've just got a few minutes now, but that last guy, these people don't think any of this through when they're speaking. Like none of it. Like, you want people to be able to just come up in your house without a warrant?
Yeah.
And there's a shortage of judges now. Where are you going to get these judges? Does he think law schools are turning people straight out as judges?
Well, what would likely happen?
The baby judge.
Yeah, what would likely happen is exactly what I mentioned. They would have some judges on file that would be anti-immigrant judges that would rubber stamp everything to the point where they wouldn't even review what's on the warrant request. They would just be stamping them. If it's coming from this department, you can trust it. Just stamp it, and that's what would happen.
But there's not enough judges to do that. And he asked, would you bring immigrants into your house? I've done that. And what I get really annoyed with is, first of all, I hate when they're like, these people. Like, okay, stop it. But I have a young man right now that we're trying to help get legal status. This boy came all the way from Guatemala at 15 years old by himself, not his family, because he's in an area where you either join a gang or you die. And his parents don't want him doing that. And he had family that was already here. But he came by himself, and I actually hired him. And they have documentation. But what 95% of them want, I won't say all because I don't believe in making, statements like none, never, or all. But what most of them want is a job. And they want the jobs that no Americans are doing.
Let me ask you a question. This is strictly for the sake of conversation. You're not admitting or denying anything here, just giving you that disclaimer. If the law, let's say Trump got elected or somebody far to the right got elected, and it was determined that the individual you're helping out was due to be deported, would you be willing to hide that person out to avoid authorities?
Yep.
Yeah. Right. And I think there's a lot of you out there. I think there's a lot of people. That's what I was telling the last caller. Like, a lot of liberals aren't going to agree with these draconian policies of going around and rounding people up.
Well, and here's the thing. If they would change the law, everybody's talking about they get free this, free that, free whatever. Those same people aren't for social programs for America either. But for, people who were born citizens. But if you would change the policy to allow, while somebody was waiting for their hearing, for them to legally have a job, I'm telling you, this kid, I have white American-born people that worked for me. And I'm going to tell you something. This kid works circles around them. Literally works circles. He doesn't call out. He doesn't come in late. He doesn't ask to leave early. He ain't whining about, I sneezed, I need to go home. He doesn't do any of that. I actually have two. They work very hard. If you get somebody now who, and I'm Gen X, I'm about to turn 50. This 30 and under, like when you want them, you say anything to them. I had a guy who couldn't wash dishes to save his life. And I don't know what you do with somebody who can't wash a dish, right? Putting dishes up dirty and nasty. And I lost my temper. And I'm from the old school of kitchen work. And I grabbed a pan and I literally chunked it across that kitchen. I didn't chunk it at anybody, but I chunked that sucker because it was a fourth sheet pan I picked up that was dirty. And he started crying. He's like, "You're mean. You don't consider my feelings. I need a break. You caused my anxiety to go up." I was like, "You know what? You can have a very long break. Go home. Don't come back."
Damn. What state are you in? What state are you in? Because you know my viewers are hard. My viewers are going to say that was a bleeding heart liberal you hired. What state are you in?
I am in Tennessee.
Oh.
And I am a liberal.
Obviously. Obviously.
I am a liberal in the reddest, and this is by voting numbers, the reddest county in the state.
Wow, you're going to go to jail. That's why I said no disclaimer. I'm surprised that you were able, well, I mean, the individual you have in, are they here on asylum claims or how did they get in?
They're here on an asylum claim.
Okay. Because, I mean, we do know folks on the right want to take that asylum claim away from them. They want that to be.
What they want. When he says, "Oh, I don't want illegals, I don't want it," what they don't want at all, people like that, they don't want non-white immigrants. If they want to come from Norway, they cool with it. But don't come from Haiti. Don't come from Latin America. Don't come from Africa. That's what they don't want. And if you look at our...
So let me make sure I'm getting this clear, because it sounds like you're saying it's racism based.
I am saying it's racism, and our policy is and has been. So if you look at how much it costs to legally immigrate here from Latin America as opposed to legally immigrate here from England, it is cheaper to legally immigrate here from England.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Latin America. Yeah. It is cost prohibitive for people in poor countries where you're fleeing extreme poverty, gang violence, just mayhem. It is cost prohibitive for them to do it legally. We don't have enough. They're like, okay, so Kamala Harris went to, when they were trying to cut this flow, and she went to Latin America and was like, "Look, you need to go to the U.S. Embassy. You need to file your claims. You need to, there is not enough resources at our embassies to do that."
But you're telling me something. It's cheaper to come here from England than it is to come here from Venezuela or Mexico somewhere. I did not know that.
And it's not cheap.
No, I know that.
Cheaper. And if you look at the Arabic world, the Middle East, outside of Israel, if you look at the Middle East, it's even worse for them. Because they get deemed as you must be a terror, that thing, before they're, they come in under a huge cloud of suspicion. So there is more vetting, and that more vetting costs more money for them.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I get that you don't know who's coming into this country right now. I get that. I understand that. But as somebody who has dealt with this population, and as somebody who, and before somebody pops off with, "Well, you should care as much about Americans," I work with my local homeless population. Most of them are white, native-born Americans. The bulk of them.
So I do got to move it on. But I guess I got to ask you the obvious question. Who you voting for 2024?
Listen, I'm a daughter of Delaware. I am riding with Biden. I don't agree with him on everything. Like, there's one thing right now. I want to back up to one other thing real quick, too. When that lady was talking about Ukraine, I think what the whole world forgets, because God forbid you pay attention to history, is we once let a madman run willy-nilly all over Europe. And then we ended up getting into that because we got attacked. In World War II. We didn't get into World War II. Everybody was like, isolationism. Don't get involved. Our economy is in shambles. But you know what? When you let madmen run unchecked over countries that aren't as powerful, they ain't going. You think Putin was going to stop at Ukraine?
There's a lot of people who agree with that, and that's why a lot of folks support us helping the Ukraine out. In fact, they want it if they're from Romania and some of the other countries, because they do believe exactly what you're saying. If you let them take over the Ukraine, we're going to be next. There's a lot of countries that do believe that.
And if you study Russian history and you look at, because one of my friends, like I said, I live in a red area. I have friends who are Republicans. It gets interesting at times. One of my friends was like, well, he didn't do that when Trump was president. I'm like, and you know nothing about Russian history. And she's like, what's that got to do with it? I said, first of all, Putin was KGB. Putin never wanted communism to fall. And the year he attacked Ukraine was the 100th anniversary of the founding of the Soviet Union. And his goal has always been to rebuild the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
That is his goal. That is his mission. And if you don't stop him, you're going to have West and East Berlin again.
Damn. Outside of MAGA, I think that most independents, liberals, and traditional Republicans think the same thing. Outside of MAGA, because even when it came to the Republican debates, the only person that is not in favor of helping out the Ukraine was Vivek Ramaswamy, who's running pretty much a mirror campaign of Trump. Even Ron DeSantis, they all said if they were in power, they would all continue helping out the Ukraine.
Yeah, I didn't watch the debate last night because I only have so many brain cells to kill. So I can't do it. I can't sacrifice that many of my brain cells. I've watched all of them. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not voting for either of them. I tell Republicans, if you're going to vote Republican, for God's sakes, vote for Nikki Haley in this primary. Because while I don't like her, because I think she is Aaron Burr. She puts her finger to the wind. And wherever the wind blows, that is how she votes.
Oh shit! And that's just a flip flopper. Well, yeah. I think the reason why so many liberals are seeing Nikki Haley is not the end of the world because they don't think she's a threat to democracy, and she's also not so far to the right on abortion rights and things like that. But I believe personally, if Nikki Haley was the Republican nominee, she could beat Biden. I think she could.
Yeah, I do too. But I'm going to tell you. I have a horrible feeling about this next election. Because the difference between a Republican and a Democrat is this, and I was once a Republican. The last time I voted Republican, it was 2008 for John McCain.
Okay.
That's the last time I voted Republican. And I had a straight Republican voting record until then. And I like John McCain a lot. But I think that where we're coming to is I don't want any of them, but I want somebody who literally isn't going to suspend the Constitution, destroy democracy. But Democrats have this purist test. If you don't agree with everything I believe, I ain't voting for you. I will stay home. I will vote for Kanye. I will write in some nonsense.
I'll interrupt and say that
Republicans will go Republican no matter what when it comes to the general election.
I think to me, in my opinion, when you say the Democrats have this mindset, to me that's progressives. I don't think the traditional Nancy Pelosi Democrats feel that way. That's the AOC, the Bernie Sanders. I think it's that crowd. The younger
that crowd. The problem we have is the extremes on both sides are starting to take over the parties.
Yeah.
Like the extremes on both sides, I don't even think they're the majority. They just got the biggest darn mouths.
Yeah. I agree. I got to move it on though, Tammy. It's our first time talking.
Right, have a good one.
It's our first time talking.
What?
It's our first time talking.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Anytime. Come on back through. Good conversation. Always welcome back. All right.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. By the way, I do appreciate it. I didn't ask you guys to tap the screen, but you guys have been doing that. 103,000 likes. Absolutely a pleasure. By the way, if you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host blocking, banning, or censoring you, we don't do that here. We allow folks to speak. You're going to get opinions that are left of Bernie Sanders all the way to I'm having dinner with QAnon for the night. So understand, we allow everyone to speak. The whole purpose of the program is never to tell you what to think, but rather hear what you have to say. So we allow everybody to speak. Nevertheless, this is indeed a lunch break live. Appreciate you folks that are tuning in. In the comments real quick, Queen, what does that say? My shirt makes it hard to read. It says sold all the way out. Uncle Tom, Uncle Ruckus. So I get it all the time because of the hat. I'll say it real quick before we wrap the program up. The whole purpose, because you see the name of the program, I lean left politically. But I do believe that everything left is not right. Everything right is not wrong. I do believe there's good and bad on both sides. The only reason you see the hat behind the program is for the simple fact that I strongly believe Republicans, conservatives, and particularly MAGA do not get a fair shake in the media. The moment MAGA begins to speak, out comes the censors. And I don't support that. I'm a big fan of free speech. So I like to have the hat to let folks know this is indeed a MAGA-friendly program. We don't have to agree, but I do believe you have the right to speak, and I will defend that on every program. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I'll see you tomorrow. YouTube, I do appreciate you guys tuning in. You know what this is. Real quick, Biden should be put in jail, and Christie, I would never trust this man in any office. Trump can't help himself because everything he says has been true. Well, in regards to putting Biden in jail, he has his day in court. He's entitled to a day in court. If you convict him of a crime, then you put him in jail. I'm not a fan of suggesting that Trump is guilty until proven innocent. Let him have his day in court. Same thing with the lock her up bullshit. I'm not a fan of locking people up before they have their day in court. A lot of folks on the right are defending Trump, but they're okay with doing it to other people. Hillary Clinton and now Joe Biden is what I'm talking about. That is wrong. You can't lock Biden up for anything until he's convicted of a crime. If you're in favor of that, then don't complain about liberals trying to go after Trump, because that's exactly what you're doing. You're not giving Biden due process, and you didn't give Hillary Clinton due process either. In regards to, what do you say, Biden should be put in jail, and Christie, what, Bridgegate? What are you throwing Chris Christie in jail for? Now you're really getting extreme. Chris Christie in jail for what? I would never trust, you said I would never trust that man in any office. Okay, that's fine. I mean, every politician out there has people that would never put them in office. And last but not least, Trump can't help himself because everything he says has been true. That is absolutely false. He didn't know who Stormy Daniels is. You think that's true? You know, he don't know who David Duke is. You think that's true? He didn't know who Nick Fuentes is, the white supremacist that showed up with Kanye West. You think that's true? Everything Trump has said has been true. He's never told a lie, huh? If you believe that, you'll believe anything. I'm not here to say that Trump is a bad guy or a good guy, but the notion that he's always been honest is ridiculous. Right now, with the exception of MAGA, everyone else in the country thinks he lied when he said the election was stolen and that he won by a landslide. And there's even a lot of MAGA that openly admits he didn't win in a landslide. He didn't win by a landslide. There are people who are going to vote for Trump that like his policies, like the way he led the country, but believe he lost the election. That wasn't right. So when you say everything Trump has said has been right, his election claims are one of the primary issues that has been totally false. I don't know if he said Antifa was responsible for January 6th or Black Lives Matter or any of this stuff, but a whole lot of things he said around January 6th has not been proven true. I don't know where you're coming up with the notion that Trump is right, other than you're taking into account things he said that turned out to be right, and you're ignoring stuff he said that turned out to be false. But Trump has absolutely stated things that has not been accurate. Like every other politician. The idea that Trump is only speaking the truth makes no sense. Nevertheless, you know what this is. I appreciate you folks tuning in. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I got to go.